So you can tell me what the One Piece is.
I'll tell you what it is. It's actually a Kinder chocolate. It's pretty.
What's the prize
It's
inside the Kinder Egg?
it's pretty. It's pretty good.
Is that what it is? Uh,
All right, let's see.
it does sound pretty
Stupid
fire.
YouTube always wants to mess up with me. Always got to make sure that this thing is running. Okay, I
You
think we're
run it?
good. Yeah, we're good. All right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, so I just literally dude, the new designs are kind of crazy too. I just finished the last One Piece live adaptation just
Episode?
about like maybe 2 hours ago.
Okay.
And so that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the One Piece live adaptation from Netflix. We've had many try, many fail. I don't even think there's been really a true successful one. You had Dragon Ball. You had
Bleach had one.
Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist. You
Death Note.
had um, you had Death Note, which was god awful.
Yeah.
Was it
So
a? It was a movie, wasn't
there's
it?
there's some people that don't never watched Death Note that like, oh, it was a pretty good movie, and then it's like everyone that's watched Death Note's like, dude, that was garbage.
That was really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad. That was probably the no, I don't know. Dragon Ball Evolution was probably the worst.
No, Giacomo, yeah, Evolution.
Yeah.
Avatar: The Last Airbender, not an anime, but
I hear that a lot of people like Speed Racer. I've never seen Speed Racer.
I remember. I have no idea. I don't remember anything about that movie. I just remember loving it as a kid.
I have not seen it. I gotta watch it, but I hear that is like a really good adaptation to it. So One Piece. Everybody thought it was a movie, but it's a show.
Yes.
I am going to let Chase tell me what his thoughts are on the One Piece adaptation.
Okay.
Because I have a feeling he knows what I'm going to say about it. So
Yeah, because you're super judgy.
I'm not. No. Stop.
uh,
No.
uh,
So Chase, what did you think about the One Piece adaptation? This was before we get started. This was like approved. Had to make sure everything was good from Oda himself. Like Oda
yeah.
was hands on this adaptation. How do you think it did?
I think it honestly surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
It's first of all, it's the worst way to get the story adaptation. You manga and anime are both still better to actually like, get the source material. Um, but they did honestly they did an amazing job in my opinion, because whenever this was first announced and whenever we saw the trailers and stuff like that, I was like, this is impossible. And One Piece is the most impossible anime to do, in my opinion. Like out of most animes, like it is one of the ones that you watch and there's no way that live act it can transfer over to live action. You definitely felt that with a lot of it. You definitely felt like the limitations, but overall, it was actually a damn good time. I really thought all the actors did a great job of like representing their characters. Like they seemed to really, especially like Nami, I think Sanji and Zoro were like the three standouts when it came
Mm-hmm.
to the main crew. Like them three were so good at being those roles. Like they truly felt like they were that character. Um, and for the limitations they had, like I said, I mean, the Fishmen looked weird, but the practical effects and stuff like that, I'll give them that. Like it worked out better than I thought when watching it.
Yeah.
Um, it all is weird. Like I tell people that haven't watched One Piece before, like it's weird. Like you're gonna watch it and you'd be like, why? This is so weird. This is so odd. Like these characters' designs are crazy, but it's like it's. I mean, I love for a fan of the show and of all that stuff. It's so accurate to it all. Mihawk looks just like Mihawk, kind
Mm-hmm.
of acts just like Mihawk. The story is for the most part like pretty well put together of the story with its few tweaks here and there, and I thought the tweaks they did were actually pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I was really surprised with it. The anime is still the way to watch it. If you're gonna watch the anime or read the manga. But for people that like the anime and like the manga, it's a lot of fun to watch the live action show. So yeah,
I mean, I'm on the anime right now. I'm doing the impossible trying to catch up.
yeah.
So
I saw
I'm in
your Skypiea arc.
Skypiea,
Yeah,
Skypiea
you're at the
arc.
beginning of that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm attempting it. I'm getting kind of tired already, but like in a good
Well,
way. Like it's
that's
I've
the
watched
I
so much
felt
content.
when I was I in your when you're the part you're in. I felt like fatigue watching that show. I was
Hmm.
just so bored of it in that beginning of Skypiea. for some reason, like the second half of Skypiea arc, I really fell back into the show, and for some reason started liking it again. Like I almost stopped watching because I was just kind of bored of it.
Yeah.
And I started liking it again towards the end of Skypiea, and then you get to the best arc of the show right afterwards. That fucking just
Which is good because, like, yeah,
so
it's
good.
it's a little much. I mean,
Well,
when
you're
people say there's pacing issues, you could tell
so
which one's
bad.
fillers and
It's
which
so
one is
bad.
just like gabagoo,
Yeah,
and then
you
you
can
get
tell with
into the
scenes they
stuff.
elongate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's still bad. Like I'm on episode 900, and there's still arcs that just drag on way too long.
Yeah, that's the
So
issue with all animes too, like
yeah,
Naruto. Like, how many times have we just been like, oh my god, get
yeah.
rid of these fillers,
Well, with
man?
Naruto, it's like it's filler episodes. With One Piece, it's not. They don't do as many filler episodes, but they just do. They elongate
Yeah,
storylines, stuff like that that you don't need to be that long.
yeah.
Yeah.
So One Piece. So I've been watching it, and like I said, I did do the manga when it got to Doflamingo. And then I
Yeah.
stopped the manga, but I know quite a bit of One Piece. And then just watching the anime series, the refresher of it all, and then it might be because I have already been through the first the first two arcs, because this is
Yeah.
covering the first arc. Obviously,
East Blue.
it's covering Luffy getting his crew together, or some of the first crewmates. It's covering Kaya. It's covering the Fishmen, Buggy. The only tweak is Garp is not in those first like arcs, like as much as they're heavily using them on here. And you have Cody having a more prominent role into the
Yeah.
story and Luffy's story in the beginning of this live adaptation. I'm a mixed bag, man. Like, I'm a very mixed bag on this show. Do
I
I
get
think
that.
this is what is the greatest anime adaptation? No, I don't. I don't think this is. I don't think this is necessarily. I don't think this saves the whole thing where anime could really translate to the big screen or the small screen, because it's hard. It's very hard with anime. It's so cartoony, goofy, and I do applaud them going for it, because if you're going to do, like you said, One Piece is such a
Awesome.
cartoony and just
It gets
very
harder too.
over the
Like
top.
this first
Yeah.
season's good, but it gets harder. So I have a really hard time seeing how they're going to do the future. But we'll talk about it.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely talk about that later. So here's my positives. I think the casting is really good in this series. I think they almost nailed everybody. There's one huge issue I have with one casting, but overall, I think you're right. We both love Nami-san, and that actress is 30 years old, so this is like her
That's
big
wild.
break, and she is getting talked about, and
A
she's probably
lot.
gonna be going doing a lot of more projects. She does a fantastic job with Nami.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't still think it's like the straight carbon copy of Nami in the anime or in the manga, but it's like her own Nami, and I kind of like that. I like how she isn't like really, because I think Nami was a little bit more, I would say a little bit more charisma, a little bit more charm, because what she does with Luffy and everybody, she just leaves them. She
Yeah.
leaves them. She takes the ship. Of course,
Yeah.
they changed that up, and we'll get into like the things they changed, what we like and what we didn't like.
Yeah.
But I think Nami is spot on. I think Zoro is fantastic,
So
man,
good.
so good. And the actor is is the son of the legendary Japanese actor who you saw in Tokyo Drift, and I
Mm.
believe he was in Kill Bill. He was a sword, the guy who gives Uma Thurman the sword, I believe, or the Honcho sword. Um, he's so good in it, man. He embodied, to me, like, dude, that's just like right on casting.
Yeah.
It seems like he did his homework, and that's like a live adaptation of Zorro I would see for sure.
Yeah.
So he's great. I think Sanji was okay. I think there was some things I liked about him. There's some things like, because Sanji is probably one of the most over the top characters other than the main guy.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I had my like director's eye on there, and I was like,
Yeah.
I would have had the actor do a little bit more of. I know it's so over the top when he's flirting with girls, but I just felt like his flirtatious
Yeah,
interaction with a lot of the girls could have been a little bit more. I think if you're gonna do it, just go a little bit
go
more.
for it. Yeah,
Yeah, and they kind of they kind of really did that in a subtle way with his flirtation. But I think he overall his action sequences were great though.
no,
I saw that the actor did all his stunts and everything. He did a
and
fantastic job
cooking
with
too.
that.
Like he got huge into cooking. Yeah,
And cooking, yeah, it was good. As I don't I'm not getting a Sanji out of him, but he did a good
yeah,
job as well. Um Usopp was fine. I thought Usopp was okay. I thought he would be a little bit more funnier through the series because Usopp is the comedy relief. But for what they gave me, I thought he was fine. I thought there were some things I liked about him, and there's some things I'm like, you know,
yeah.
um,
I'm hoping he
I,
grows on me more
he might grow on me more later
because that's how
on.
the character in the show kind of like in the anime did for me too. Like he grew on me more and more.
I think Usopp grew on me right from the get go, just because him and Luffy's interaction.
Yeah, that relationship.
And I think that's my what be missing in this one. It's just as not as funny. It wasn't as funny as I wanted it to be.
Yeah,
Um, before Mihawk. Oh my god,
so good,
fantastic,
so good.
fantastic casting for
Yeah,
Mihawk. The look, I mean, it's out there. There's a big ass sword and stuff, but dude, he looked good. He looked
yeah,
great. I think that was excellent. And another one that surprised me, and I'm glad everybody's talking about it. And I think I just told you, I texted you, I was like, dude, Buggy,
oh, dude, yeah, everyone loved Buggy.
Buggy was great,
He was,
man.
and he was one of the people in the trailers that everyone's like, that looks terrible. And then like
Yes,
then he came out with it. It's like, dude, he was the one of the best parts of the show.
best parts, man. If I
Yeah,
wanted my comedy or I wanted like this dude really went for it and he
yeah,
nailed it. Like
yeah.
now, I think honestly I like this Buggy more than I like the anime
I
Buggy.
do too. And the anime Buggy is funny. And I mean, I'm thinking like because he does reappear recurring throughout the show, stuff like that. I wonder how if they'll do it more often with him just because of how great he was in the show.
And that was a change of direction with his character,
Yeah.
but it was a welcome change of direction because
So
the actor is doing such a great job. And then even
yeah,
the introduction to him when
yeah,
he's just sitting down and the lighting on it, like with
so
his goofy ass hat, it worked
yeah,
though. It totally worked.
yeah,
A lot of the introduction of like the fisherman people, him and with the wanted posters. Oh, I think the wanted poster was such a clever idea
yeah.
of
That was
how
cool.
they introduced them. I thought that was
That
fantastic
was
too.
really cool. I love it because it kind of
Um,
helps you like help you feel like what this world like how they kind of building the show and how silly it can be and
yeah, and
like that.
it was great, man. I thought there was some good of out there ideas to make it
Yeah,
pop out a little bit. Here's my main issue. Here's my main issue, dude. It's my main issue. This show is only as strong as your lead actor character.
yeah.
I know it's really hard to portray Luffy, but then is it really though? Is it really hard to portray Luffy?
It's hard. It's hard to be dumb and funny. Like Steve Carell could do it in The Office,
Oh
and he's
yeah,
a
I
genius.
just saw Anchorman too. He's
Yeah,
so
it takes a
good.
genius to do that dumb funny kind of mixture. Um, I think the kid did all right. He definitely was the word. You can tell his acting chops
Oof,
nowhere near as good as everyone else in the
rough.
crew. It's rough.
It's rough.
His acting chops aren't that great. I do think he has that. He's a little more serious. I wish they kind of just go more with Luffy's just kind of non-caring attitude and like stuff like that. They more went with like trying to challenge him as a captain and things like that. I
Hmm.
don't know. There was just a lot with it. They're trying to do a little more with Luffy instead of simply him being like, I want this crew. I'm going to be the pirate king. And I know, I don't know. He was fine. I think he does like encapsulate. He does have this goofiness to him, this silliness to him, um, that works for it. I just think the acting chops really hold him back.
Um,
He does look the part. He does.
um,
There's certain scenes where I'm like, I see where they were going with Luffy, and I see why this actor was picked. But it's just like, yeah, there's certain scenes where he's talking and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, this dude's struggling.
he wasn't good. I just
Yeah,
don't think he was really good. At the end of the series, after watching the last episode, in my mind, I was like, so is this a because he fights Garp, his
Yeah.
grandpa. He gets the crew back together. He fights what's the main fishman's name again?
Long.
Arlong.
Yeah.
Arlong fights Arlong. Here's the difference, man. When I was thinking at the end of the series, like in the anime, I was like, Luffy's a freaking idiot. He's a bubbly, lovable idiot.
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
what? When he turns it up a notch and he's
Yeah.
like fighting for Nami and he's worried about Zoro and he's saying like after so many episodes and after like maybe the first arc and he's screaming I'm going to be the king of pirates, like
Yeah.
you believe him. Like
Yeah.
it's like Naruto, right? He says he's going to
Yeah.
be Hokage and then you don't take him seriously, but then he's training and
Yeah.
he does moments where he's like, damn, he's a badass. And he has
Yeah.
that spark. That's what I have for Luffy in the anime series and in general in the
Yeah.
Oda manga. But in the live adaptation, I mean, we're already at the last episode and he's telling his grandpa, I'm gonna be the king of pirates. I just don't buy it, man.
Yeah.
I am not with this guy. Like I'm questioning, like, dude, Nami Zoro, why the fuck are you with? And the
Yeah.
problem too is they made Luffy. Luffy is really when he's in the anime. If you're gonna adapt something, you need to adapt that fire. You need to
Yeah.
adapt that fighting style that he has. He may be an imbecile, but he's strong, man. And I
Yeah.
never got that with Luffy in this series. There was many moments where it just didn't. They tried to balance the comedy aspect, his goofiness aspect to the serious moments that you see in the anime, but it just doesn't translate well. I think the biggest example is when he's fighting Arlong, and he just gets wrecked, man. He gets wrecked, and
Yeah.
the choreography is not that great. I can understand because he's the rubber man and the CGI and all that
Difficult.
stuff, but
Yeah.
it didn't work for me, man. It didn't work for me at all. And then another problem was like what you said is when this actor was serious, it still came off really bad. It came
Yeah.
off really cringe. When he tried to be funny, it didn't come off really good either. So
Yeah.
the problem is this guy does not have charisma. He doesn't have charm.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that factor. And a best example I can give you is Arnold Schwarzenegger. When he did his movies, he wasn't the best actor in the world. Actually, a lot of people criticize his acting, but the difference was the dude had charm. The
Yeah.
dude was likable. The dude had charisma. He oozed aura. Unfortunately, this kid does not. And this kind of reminds me of the first Harry Potter movie when they did with Daniel Radcliffe and the kids. So I'm hoping he gets better as time goes because
That could
those
always
kids
happen.
got better.
We've seen it in long running series and stuff like that where people like he's he's definitely a newer actor. I mean, Will Smith in Fresh Prince of Bel Air was criticized a lot for his acting in the first
Mm-hmm.
season or two, and then he later on in the series he has a lot of some of the best emotional scenes in sitcom TV.
Yeah.
Becomes a well known actor and stuff like that. So like
And
when you
he did
fresh
lean
new
on
actors,
Uncle Phil.
yeah.
He leaned on that veteran actors.
Yeah, and that cast around him is so good. That cast did a great job. Nami, I mean, her acting and her scenes were
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Every actor really encompassed like their characters very well. That he can hopefully grow over time if the show does continue. And like I said, they just need to. I don't know. Luffy is such an interesting character because there's not much to him. He's very simple minded. He knows what he wants. He knows what he is. There's not a lot to him. Never really early on in the series, at least. Like there's points in the series and the manga later on that like he gets challenged as a captain, stuff like that. But they're very few in between. It's usually Luffy is dumb. Everyone thinks he's ridiculous, and there's no way he can do anything. And then the moment someone needs him, the moment he decides to turn it on, like mainly whenever one of his friends are in trouble, you see him switch, and he shows you exactly why he's going to be king of the pirates and why he deserves to be king of the pirates.
Well, that's why the
right.
show
that feels not there.
That's why the showrunners should have had him the comedic relief in most of this series.
Yeah,
they should have had him be. He's not necessarily, and I would say it's a good balance of all the characters. It's not like he's the one that's outshining everybody, but they should have had him be that comedic relief. Like you would think he'd be a side character, and when the moment happens where he has to fight, boom, it switches up, especially with people who are just getting into this and
Agree.
don't really know too much of One Piece.
Yeah.
Because that's what Luffy, like you said, is like he's picking his nose, he's saying
Right.
outrageous stuff, like people are not taking him seriously.
Yeah.
That should be a strength of making this kind of show. You should have that element of surprise, so to speak, if there's newcomers coming in.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I just really think they casted wrong on Luffy. I'll be
yeah.
honest with you.
And
I think
the way they should approach it was Luffy and like the series and stuff like yeah, you're right. He should have been a little bit more background to Nami and the crew's story and him kind of being there and like when it comes to Zoro and all of them, like he like in the anime, you go through him fighting Zoro and Nami
yeah,
and defeating the Axe guy, whatever.
yeah,
And he defeats him, no problem, not really serious, kind of just defeats him. Same thing going on to the next, to the knife guy and stuff like that,
yeah,
and then Arlong is the first like the Arlong Park arc with Nami and her backstory and going against Arlong. That's like the first time in the anime that you watch and they're like, oh, that's what this show's about. This show is about Luffy, and this is exactly what you're getting into is when Luffy puts that hat on Nami, and
yeah.
you see the crew, which they did that scene was a dope scene still. I love the scene so much because it was the first scene that really brought me into the anime and like made me love the anime. It was just all them standing there ready to go fight. Um, that should have been like a really stronger moment of just like this is what Luffy is. This is who Luffy is. It didn't encapsulate that as well as like the manga and the anime did, like where it's like this is why Luffy is the main character of the show.
Yeah, they did him a disservice by having that three-way fight with the machine guy, like because Luffy takes him
Mhm.
out like nothing, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
Zoro, I mean, everybody said that Zoro is like he could be the main character if he wanted to, or Oda could have gave him the main character status, but he's perfect the way he is in the side character. We all
Yeah,
know why Luffy in the manga and the anime is the protagonist. We all know why they follow him too. It's kind of like the most recent is Jujutsu Kaisen, right? I mean, Ikadora or Itadora, and but you have Gojo who's beast, and you have freaking Yuta who could be a main protagonist too.
yeah,
So you got to showcase why this has to be your main protagonist as well.
yeah,
And I think the show kind of dropped the ball a little bit on that. Going into some of the more positive things because I don't have all negative stuff. Like I said, it's a mixed bag for me. There
yeah,
are some really good things and there's some really things that I just thought could have been a lot better. Another good thing was the set designs. I thought
yeah,
having real life ships like the Mary and stuff, amazing. I love it. Great. I think some of the mix of the CGI worked a little bit, but you could tell they lost a lot of funding on their budget on some
yeah.
scenes. I think some of the choreography is really, really good. The Mihawk and Zoro fight, especially, was so good.
That was really done well.
On the money, like act for act, really solid. I really
Yeah.
did love that
I
fight.
remember the end of that fight too. Like I remember because in the animes, like Zoro does that whole thing, puts his thing, and he's like, "I'll never lose again."
Yeah,
And then I was kind of like, at first, from the end of that fight, that he didn't say though, like say Luffy, like call Luffy King of the Pirates, because that was the first moment where Zoro really like was like, "You are my captain." Basically, was
yeah.
like dedicating himself to Luffy. And then they end up waiting on that and doing that after he wakes up and doing this whole thing. But I still just love that moment so much because he does end up doing it. He just dedicates himself to Luffy. Like he's now Luffy's number two. Again, that actor does it so well. He cried
Mhm.
even in that moment. I was like, it's so good, so good. Yeah,
I think the actor who played the butler on Kaya's arc,
oh yeah,
Kuro,
yeah.
I thought he was great. I thought he
He
was
was
spot
good
on with. I
for a
thought he was
character I really
spot
didn't
on.
care about from the anime.
Yeah,
So good.
spot on that. Some of the choreography on that though was kind of bad because they
Yeah,
had him in this little pointy little. That one
it
was
was
that
weird.
one's hard.
That
That
was a
one
weird
is
one.
super hard because
Yeah,
it's very out there with the anime and the manga. So that one
yeah.
I that one's pretty
Makes
hard.
it, the show just is weird.
My main gripe on the show, other than Luffy, the casting of Luffy, I will stand by saying that we'll see if he gets better, but I just don't like the casting of Luffy. My main gripe, other than that, is the amateurish direction. The shots, the movement of the camera is very amateurish.
Yeah.
I just feel like this. I think you said it too. To you. It was kind of one time, like kind of like a fan made film, like a
Yeah,
really
and I
good
still
big
think
budget
that. I think
fan
that's a
made.
really, yeah,
That's the difference between fan made and actual veterans.
yeah,
I think you look at Steven Spielberg movies, and they have a lot of anime inspired shots.
yeah,
You can go to Ready Player One and look at that.
yeah,
So I'm not saying I don't want Steven Spielberg on this, but I want somebody who's competent enough with the camera to not make it look so amateurish. And it
yeah,
is, to me, it is. There's a lot of shots that you have some bizarre close ups sometimes.
yeah. You get
I
some
know
weird
they,
scenes.
yeah, and that's if we're talking anime to live action, I always say like there's things you have to change because you don't want Goku going or them saying their special move every single time because comes off really bad. It doesn't translate from
Yeah,
anime
to
to
life.
the smaller big screen. That
Yeah,
goes the same with direction. It works in the animation department because they could do a lot of things. They don't
yeah,
have a big ass camera. They're hauling and like they're able, and it's anime. It's just something like musicals and animation musicals. It just
yeah,
works. But when it comes
yeah,
out here, you have to think differently.
yeah,
So I Chase, to me, what I noticed that I just kind of like this was the problem with me where I was like, I don't know if I want to keep going. Is the actual direction of this? I don't know who directed these episodes, but I really think the camera work was kind of very suspect in this show.
and I know the
That's
main
an e-
show writer, the main guy behind it was like, I think a younger guy who's kind of newer, but
Mhm.
has like a real like deep love for One Piece, and he went to
Yeah.
Netflix being like, if you're making this show, give it to me, and I will make it, worth the while. And I mean, again, my biggest thing is like it's, I really enjoyed it just simply because I had no hope for it. That was gonna be absolute crap. But I watched it being like, yo, this is like they're really making a fun. Like again, it is fan made, but it is a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it's not an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's a
Yeah.
7 out of 10. Like it's a good, fun thing for someone that watches the show.
Yeah.
And people that haven't watched the show or watched the anime and stuff like that, I'm like, you're probably not gonna like it. It's kind of weird. It doesn't do anything. It's kind of So
Well, you nailed it. It's a big fan made, big
yeah,
budget movie. People who are saying like, I think the only directors where I've heard that went from like YouTube to like doing a big budget movie, because people will get even directors like Josh was it Tank who went from his low budget movie to Fantastic Four totally blew that. It's a different beast.
yeah,
You have crew you have to take care of. You have a set schedule. You
yeah,
go over budget, you're losing the studio money.
yeah,
So there is a lot into it, and that goes with Netflix. You still have all these elements.
yeah,
The only directors I've seen recently that have kind of impressed me is, even though I didn't necessarily like the movie too much, was Talk to Me directors who
yeah,
went from YouTube to big to that Talk to Me, who made a lot of money, but their direction was really spot on. If I didn't care for the premise, but their direction was good. This show, the direction was a big ass fan made one, and I know I get you. It's a
yeah,
fun time. Like I said, there is a lot of great elements in the show that make it fun.
yeah. Which I'll
I
say, like, it's got heart. I think the show really does show that, everyone loved being a part of this project. The director
Mhm.
of it, the actors, like all of them, like really took pride in the show, and I think that really does show in it. Like it really does feel like a true love for the source material, which is
They did a
hard to get.
they did a better job with handling this source material than I give, like you said, I give it
Yeah,
credit for, man. Because a lot of studios would just hack the shit out of the source
and the fact
material.
that it is getting love from a lot of places. I mean, I've seen people who haven't watched any One Piece who watched it and really enjoyed it and it's the fact that it's doing so good. It's been rated fairly good, pretty solid. I think
I
it's good.
think the
I think
rating,
that's mainly due to the heart of it because I don't think it's due to the acting or the direction. I think everyone's just loving the actual, like, they're just finding it fun to watch.
And I think the ratings come from the One Piece fans. It's
Yeah,
not.
oh,
I
hell
don't
yeah,
think it's new viewership or anything like that. I maybe, but I think for the most part, it's the One Piece fans that are keeping this thing going.
yeah.
I think if it was another title or anything else, it would not be doing as maybe. I mean, Netflix is known
I
to like really
better
kind
than
of blow
Cowboy
up.
Bebop, better than Dragon Ball.
Oh,
It's
that's
better than
right,
all the
Cowboy
main.
Bebop. Yeah,
It's better than all
obviously,
those.
Cowboy Bebop didn't do really well at all, so it got
No,
canceled. Um,
it's better.
I just think I still in my mindset I still think that it's so they haven't cracked the code for anime to live adaptation.
No,
I really do think that you can't do. I know they want to try to do Naruto.
doing
It'd
Naruto,
be
My Hero, Death Note again. They're
it
doing
would be
all
fun. It would be fun, but the
fun, but
problem
you're
is I
never.
think this only works for kind of short series, man. Short
Yeah,
series, maybe grungy kind of series. Like I said, I think they could do Akira. I think
Ocarina would be
Akira is a
great.
good one. I think they
Yeah,
if they redid Ghost in the Shell with more better luck, I think they could have done that. Trigon, like well, maybe not necessarily Trigon. So I mean, really grounded kind of anime, like really
yeah,
grungy, maybe a little bit cyberpunky.
yeah.
But when it comes
You
to
can
long
really do
series like One
based.
Piece,
Totally.
Bleach, and all that, I don't,
No,
I
there's
still
too
think
much.
they haven't cut it.
Yeah, no. I will say I really liked the bit One Piece is known for foreshadowing and world building, and like they really do that. This even more so than the anime because they know a lot more than the anime did when they first started.
Hmm.
So like you get a lot of references in it. There is a Skypiea reference in a story told by Nami to Zoro when he's sleeping. There is a Jinbei reference, which like Jinbei. If the show goes on, you won't see Jinbei until like season 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Um, there's there's of course they broke works in episode 1 already. Um, and then like
Oh
they
yeah,
are they're already building that world. They're already kind of putting it out there. Like yo, if this continues, this is little hints and stuff like that that you're going to see that are going to come back later on within the series. So I'm curious to see how they. I mean, the biggest thing of the show. It's curious to see how this future goes. If it gets to season 2, which they've said they've already finished writing on it, um,
well
how's
the
it going to
producer or
look?
something, she said she has they have material or they have a plan to all the way to season
Yeah,
6.
which makes it because like season 2, I'm assuming it would be Logtown and Alabama. It would be the whole all the way through Alabasta, I
Yeah,
imagine, and that feels like it has to be like 10 episodes because Alabasta's the longest, the first kind of major arc in the series. Like it's the first long arc,
it's pretty long.
and
It's pretty
you got
long.
to cover Logtown, you got to cover the Grand
Vivi, you
Line
had to cast
with
Vivi,
Cats Vivi, Chopper, Drum Island has to be
Crocodile.
part of that.
Well, they said Crocodile's a female.
Well, there's a whole thing in the anime, the fan theory in the anime that crocodile is a was originally a female.
Uh huh.
And you'll get that kind of fan theory. You'll know about more about that when you get to the Marine, not Marine Ford, but just right before Marine Ford, Prison Break. You'll learn more about that. So it's believed that that is hinting towards that fan theory that Crocodile is originally a female, and so the next season we can still see him as a male.
As a male. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I was gonna go on to another direction, but since we're talking about
Sorry, I went future
more
already.
season, no. You. I was. It was gonna be either one, but since
Yeah.
you're talking about like different more seasons, this and that, I don't think this is gonna get. This is gonna finish. I don't think it's gonna
No,
finish properly.
I've
I
said that
think.
too.
Yeah, I think Netflix loves to cancel their series once it's like viewership dips. I
Yeah.
don't think this has legs. Was what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, right now it seemed like it could be good enough to get a season 2.
Season two
Being
is
s-
definitely coming.
But I've agreed. I've said like I just don't feel like this show is going to have longevity. Like I
Mhm.
think right now it's just getting love because of One Piece fans jumping in there and like forcing love onto it.
And
But they're
plus,
not going to keep a
it's
whole.
lightning too. Gear 5 just happened, so of
Yeah.
course people are on the One Piece bandwagon right now.
Yeah, it's all over. I mean,
That's
they've
what
gone
got
through.
me back into it. I was like, all right,
Yeah, yeah,
let's try it. Let's go for it. As
yeah.
you can see, I'm wearing my Akatsuki
Nice.
Hawaiian shirt.
I just ate
So
at a ramen restaurant yesterday too that had the wanted posters for all the One Piece characters.
oh, that's cool.
Well,
That's
had anime
very
Dragon
cool.
Ball and stuff showing and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean this show could it's wincing because if you go to Alabasta arc is a good arc, And I think that one can translate over well into live action. Personally, like I think that's an arc that can translate because it does their whole thing. Chopper is going to be super hard to CGI. Like it's going to be such a thing. That's going to be like the biggest hurdle I think this show's going to have to deal with.
And I don't know, yeah, I don't know if they're gonna have the money to do it because even like with Luffy's expansion on
You'll
his
have to cut him
rubber,
out of a lot of scenes, kind of just throw him into some scene. Like I feel like he's gonna have to be more of a side character than most because his CGI is gonna be tight. He changes different forms and stuff like that.
don't know how they're gonna do it.
I mean, next season, yeah,
Do you
it's
do
gonna
a
be,
puppet?
yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, but then you get season 3 would have to be Skypiea, which is not a very popular arc. It's largely considered boring. That one's gonna be like a fucking crazy one to have to do live action because it's all about being clouds,
Sky, yeah.
being on clouds as islands and stuff like that. So it's just like it's such a wild thought to think about. Like it's like I said, the show gets crazier and crazier and crazier. The show's just gonna get harder and harder and harder to do when you get to bigger set pieces, bigger, more cast, like way bigger cast, you know, bigger, like crazy. Like if they fucking go long down the line, say they get to the Marineford arc, that introduces like 20 new characters, all big names in the series and stuff like that. And then you get to Whole Cake Island arc, which is really down the line. But that's like a giant island made out of candy and stuff like that, sodas, and a bunch of weird. There's at some point you get to and are you gonna do a giant giraffe fighting Zora with his nose or like what? There's so many scenes that are crazy, like big scenes that.
Well, they pushed it in this season already. They pushed it.
But they definitely cut some stuff. And
well, that's what I was gonna get into now. Is that they did change quite a bit stuff actually, especially kind of in the middle of this series. What did you think about some of the changes that you liked and some of the changes you just kind of like they could have just stuck with the main kind of story.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say I did like how they did Garp and Kobe. They kind of more introduced like Kobe and Garp. I think both of them are introduced early in the series, but like you don't get a lot of them in the beginning, and you don't really learn about what they're doing and what like Garp. You don't learn about Garp and Luffy's relationship till later. Like if they followed track, it'd be like season 3 or 4 until we actually learned that Garp was Luffy's grandfather. And you don't learn about like what Colby's up to and what he's doing and stuff like that. You don't get to see really Colby's like in the series. You just kind of see Colby again. You know what he's been doing, but you don't see him doing it. All that training and stuff he does with Garp, like he just simply comes back later in the series new and improved Colby.
And then I gotta say, Kobe and the other guy too. Great.
Their relationship was great because that's a big thing in the anime is they become like best friends, and I thought that was handled really well.
And the actors did like I said, the casting in here is phenomenal. They just cast. Yeah. I just feel like they didn't get the right one that they needed on Luffy. Like I actually probably would have praised this show more if it wasn't for the acting of Luffy.
Yeah, very hard. And like that could get better, but I do agree he's rough. He's one of the rough ones. I do miss Hachi. Hachi was a character that they cut out from Fishman Island. I don't know what they're. That's the guy that comes back later in the series, so it's interesting that they cut him.
They didn't have the. They didn't have the 2 bounty hunters.
No, they didn't. I didn't think about that. That would be good.
What the hell's his name? It was funny when Zoro kept on saying his name.
I get why they cut him, but
Johnny. Oh yeah, Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah. But I miss Hachi. I don't know. I don't know if I really hated much of their changes. I think, like I said, they challenged Luffy early on. There was a whole like him questioning himself as a captain and stuff like that. And I get why they did it, but honestly, I think he could have just. I'm with it that he could have just done better being just kind of the dumb captain, and then him coming like he doesn't need like I didn't want him to try to need to think about it, proving himself as a captain, stuff like that. I'd rather him just.
Or did
Arlong scene prove why he is the captain.
I think the one thing I was like, why are we doing this now? Was they brought Arlong onto the restaurant.
Yeah.
They got Sanji in the crew before Kaya.
Yeah.
Was that no?
No, it was after Kaya.
That was after Kaya. What was the one thing? It was
they cut out they cut out the Don Cree. They just had him like do a little cameo.
Yeah, and he dies.
Yeah, and he just
He
died.
dies.
Which again, I think that's he wasn't like an amazing part of the series. Like I kind
Yeah.
of get why they cut it short. If they have to cut it short, cut it out. I will
Um,
say the scene with
dude.
Shanks. It's, like we haven't talked much about Shanks. Shanks was interesting because like I was love hate with him. I really like don't love the character's look. Like
Yeah.
that actor just
Thank you.
looks funny with the red hair. I do
Doesn't look.
think he acts it well, but like the hair is just like
Can't take him serious.
yeah, it was like you could have picked maybe a much handsomer actor. I don't know. And it just doesn't work. It looks weird. It just doesn't work with that actor. But he does a
It
good
looked like they
job.
tried to get a Robert Downey Jr. in that thing, but Shanks
Yeah.
is not a Robert Downey Jr.
No.
Dude, what
And
if they got like Matthew McConaughey?
yeah, he does fine. He has a good, decent amount of charm and stuff to him. Like he works. But I definitely was like, man, Shanks is so much cooler in the anime and stuff like
Um,
that.
and even
Um,
the origin story of Luffy eating the devil fruit, like I
yeah.
love the anime
Oh yeah,
version
it just
because it's
takes
so
off.
funny. It's
It's
like
just
he's eating the shit.
yeah.
I think they did a horrible job on showcasing Luffy's appetite.
Oh
I
yeah,
feel
they
like
did.
you could do that. So I feel like anime just they don't know how to convey that to real
Yeah.
life, but I think you can. I think you
You
can get
easily can. You
somebody
just make it
just
look like
going
he's eating a ton.
downtown.
Yeah,
How
that's
hard
true.
is it to
Because
eat a
it's a
lot
big
of
anime
food?
thing. I know. I did hate too, like the scene where that like other pirate or whatever was causing issues, and the fight scene with them. Um, he goes like this, and the guy shoots.
Uh-huh.
It was cool. I love the anime though, way better because he's just like the guy points a gun at Shank's head, and
Yeah.
Shank says, if you're gonna use that, be prepared to die." He said, "Guns aren't for threatening; they're for action." And then right then, dude gets shot in the head by his crewmate, and shit's over. Like that shit went way harder in the anime than it did in that. It was still a cool scene. Like I like the little fight scene, but I was like way harder in the anime for in that just bang right to the head dead.
Yeah, Shanks was questionable on that one. I would have to say I think the changing of the pirates not invading the island, changing the whole Kuro plan. It's just really was it Booch and whatever the chick's name.
Oh yeah.
This is where I got bored, man. This is where it was hard to
You mean
like
those two episodes with Kaya?
oh yeah.
Yeah, those were the roughest ones.
Oh man, I was just like, dude, Chase, I don't know if I was I was gonna have to talk about this and be like, listen, I stopped right there. It was like no, it wasn't like awful, but it was just like really dragging and kind of boring. And I did like and I was you know what another thing was like Kaya. Very I just didn't picture her being Kaya. She does a good job, I guess.
I
She
don't
does
picture her
fine.
being 18.
Yeah, she's just
she,
yeah,
she's
did
but
not. And I don't mind Usopp and Kaya sharing a kiss because we all know at the end
yeah,
game,
yeah,
Usopp and Kaya are gonna probably be a thing. If there's any romance in One Piece, it's
it's
those
that.
two. Um, I thought the choice of set it really was very Neo, the lighting
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah,
And maybe that took away from it a little bit. Another thing was so Kuro fights Luffy uh, in daylight. Zoro fights in daylight,
yeah,
all that. And I really maybe that's what bogged me down a little bit because they're fighting in the dark. And I get it
yeah,
because the CGI and stuff, but I think that's a big thing because I think what I liked about in the anime is like they're out in daylight and they're stopping this pirate crew trying
yeah.
to
Big
execute this
island, yeah.
plan. There's a purpose. So I thought that was mixed up a little bit, and I honestly think that might have been one of the parts, and some other stuff that Oda has came out and said that there was things he didn't like that they changed about some of the story structure.
I mean,
So
yeah, but he did have still have a big hand in it, and there was at the end of the day, they can only do so many episodes. They only have so much of a budget. They spent a lot on that show,
yeah,
and there has to be things cut down. And like that was a storyline that in the anime just wasn't as interesting. Like you'd rather have the Arlong Park storyline because that is a lot more interesting. Nami's backstory is one of the most interesting. Arlong is one of the better villains of the beginning. And yeah, they you can feel it in those scenes. It's like, oh, this is all, they just made it like a House of Horror, walkthrough thing instead of this pirates
Thank
invading the
you. You
island.
you
And
you 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 nailed it. It was like a
they cut
horror-esque
it down. Yeah,
style direction they did with those
yeah,
2 episodes because they are in the house. It's very low
yeah,
light. He has like creepy ass. It really felt like a homunculi kind
yeah,
of going against
yeah.
Edward and Alphonse,
That's true. Yeah,
And they didn't have the little kids who looked up to Usopp. They took
yeah.
them
No, I
out.
missed that. I would have. I think that would have been. I mean, you could have done something small with that, the
Yeah.
kids, stuff like that. The dog. They didn't have the dog tube in the town.
No. I do like what else is in there? I I think that's kind of like the only major change where I was just like, I think also Arlong on at the restaurant, I didn't necessarily care for. I would have liked them to Nami to steal the ship. Like, I don't understand why they changed that because it's a very easy. Nami takes a ship and goes, but they didn't have Johnny. They didn't have the two bounty
Yeah,
hunters, but you could have easily had her look at a wanted sign and
yeah,
I just didn't care. I think because I didn't really care for him being at the restaurant and then him confronting Luffy, taking the place of what's his name again? Don Cree.
yeah,
Don Cree. He's basically Orlon basically took the place of Don Cree. That whole fighting sequence.
yeah.
Whew, dude. Luffy's like I said, it's all Luffy here. I get it. It's so hard. Like even Marvel can't master stretch and make it look
Yeah,
good. This didn't that fight didn't look good, man. Like I got
it was
the
fine.
hard
I didn't think the
cuts,
vials of his cutting. I think the one thing that looked kind of was weird was it definitely when he did the blow up to hit the cannon back at his grandfather.
super
That
bad,
looked crazy. That was pretty bad. I was like,
very
oh,
pretty bad.
but I'm not. I'm not a big. I didn't. I'm not big into crazy and like hating on visuals. Looked better than the Flash movie. Wins for me.
Did it though?
It
It was
did.
about the
You gotta
same. It
admit,
was about the same.
Buggy's cutting was really well done. I even think the giant fish monster was pretty well done. Um,
Arlong
yeah,
didn't look
it's
that great still.
I didn't I didn't mind it as much when actually watching it. I do like a good practical effect, like practical
Yeah.
kind of makeup and stuff like that. So I really thought that was cool. Definitely looks weird because it's fucking weird.
You see his fin in the
Um,
back, and you're just like,
and that's going to be a big thing with the anime. It's like every character is going to feel so small. I mean, with the live action, every character like Garp feels
yeah,
small. Arlong feels small. Every character you meet from here on out is going to feel super
because
small.
fucking Oda wants to make them this
Yeah,
like.
like imagine when Big Mom and Kaido becomes a thing. Like they're massive human beings,
Well, it's
and they're
hilarious.
going to be shrunk down because they're not technically giants. They're going to be like shrunk down stuff like that if they actually get there.
Oh, I saw a short where like this is how Oda draws his women in One Piece, and it was a clip of Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Dennis goes like, "So we start on the breast, and then it's a skinny ass waist."
Yeah,
So like, so true. Oda just fucking makes these chicks. You know what? It's crazy because I know what happens in a time skip, right? I know
yeah,
the look of these all this Straw Hat crew and everybody.
yeah.
Boy, do I prefer them in pre-time skip, honestly.
I've always agreed with that. I've
I
always agreed. Well, yeah, I agree with most of it. I think Zoro looks good, like when he's buff and all that stuff like that, and the one eye's cut.
lost his
Looks good.
smile. Lost his smile.
Yeah,
He lost his
so
laugh,
good.
man.
So good. I think some of them look fine, but I do agree. I've always actually kind of liked the pre-time skip look of a lot of the characters.
Pre-tie skip look they look like fucking pirates, and now they
Yeah,
look like not ridiculous. They look like, I mean, obviously they got older because
yeah,
Shanks is huge too
yeah.
in after time skip. You know?
Well, in the time skip, they kind of really start stepping up costuming and like making them fit in with wherever they're at.
Yeah.
So like they really like they go to Fishman Island, they kind of fit that theme. Their clothing and stuff fits the theme of the island. They really focus on that in the later time skips. I feel like Whole Cake Island, they go like this. They join with a mafia group. They end up dressing up very mafia like. They
I
go
don't really
to
like Sanji's time skip, and he's like the simplest one. You know? Maybe it's the beard. I don't know.
the beard is weird. But they may definitely go with like a. They definitely just kind of step up like the costume design and the
I
change.
will say somebody needs to get an award for the costuming of One Piece
So
live
good,
adaptation.
so
Really,
good.
really damn good.
Amazing. Even they
Really,
like
really damn good. Like I complained about Arlong and what he looked like, but that was Arlong
his costume was sick.
on the flashback. The
Yeah, when he
flashback
came
costume.
back, that's where I was like, I kind of like
It's
this
like
Arlong just because they
shit.
did
That's
that. That
that's
really helped a
Arlong
lot.
right there. But then when you move on to his, it just
Work.
doesn't work for me when he's like in
Yeah.
the present time. But that flashback,
For me, I don't
he
think he
looked
looks bad. He
G.
just looks small. He looks small because the Arlong and the
Yeah.
anime.
But costuming, Luffy, Zoro. Oh, spot on Zoro. They had iconic wardrobe for Nami. I even would say Usopp because they can't be in like not without shirts all the time.
Yeah.
They had him on with a shirt, and he really looked good. I agree with the nose thing. You didn't need him to have the pointed nose. It's fine.
Yeah.
The Mihawk, I think, is one of the best drip on there too, for sure. Garp looked good. The Marines looked good. There was somebody else. Shanks look. It's just because the actor. I think we agree is just kind of.
The costume design was good. He looked funky in it.
Who's the other person? Like, and Buggy. Like Buggy looks fantastic, man, for a clown.
So good for a pirate clown. Like they
for
really
a pirate clown.
That's how a pirate clown.
I think you're gonna see a lot of him in Halloween. The light adaptation, dude, because it's
popular.
If you're talking about fun, Buggy was
Comic
fun.
Con next year.
He was fun. Anime Con, dude. Anime Con.
That's right. He's gonna be everywhere.
Uh-huh.
He was really. I honestly like because he does come back. He does become a recurring character in the series for the most part. Mainly as a joke kind of thing. He kind of climbs the ladder as a joke, whatever. But like I do think.
But that's Buggy, man.
More of him in the show, just because how much people love that actor.
Yeah. I'm okay. I'm okay if you bring
Buggy in there. If he somehow appears in the Alabasta arc, fucking.
He kind of. He's paired with Alvida, so.
I forget. I mean, there's so much next. I keep thinking about like each thing that each.
She didn't eat the fruit yet. So she's still big, Alvida. So.
Yeah. They have to switch actors. But I'm thinking about next season right now and like all the different characters and things that they had to add Robin, Ace, Chopper, Crocodile, Vivi.
I think Ace would be an easy one.
Yeah.
Ace and Robin would be easy. Like you gotta just have like attractive people.
That's fair.
And I love Robin. And we're talking about time skip looks, man. I think Robin got butchered a little bit. I think Robin looked way better pre-time skip.
Thank you. Everyone loves like Dick Robin and stuff like that.
Why? She looks like Nami.
It's amazing. Yeah.
Like I love like she had fucking style. Like I'm here with the Skypea and she's like rocking like the purple suit, short hair. Like I love me some Robin.
The outfit of Robin is great. She's like,
and I think her and Frankie are the oldest in the crew members.
Yeah, they're the two oldest.
They're the two oldest.
Imagine when they get to how do they do Frankie? How do you do Frankie, dude?
I think if you could do Arlong, you could do Frankie. It's just when he starts, mobilizing.
I feel like they won't. Yeah, I feel like they won't have the arms. They'll have the tattoo or whatever. But I love Frank. Frank is like my favorite character.
I would have to still say Zoro, man. I love Zoro, dude. Zoro is fucking epic. I love how loyal he is.
Yeah.
So let's go to soundtrack, man. What did you think about the soundtrack? I will already state that I think the anime soundtrack are bangers. But there was maybe like one song in the live adaptation where I was like, okay, that's pretty nice. That does feel like
one song that people keep replaying on repeat, and it is a good song. It's like Nami's theme song. Let me see if I can get. I haven't listened to it quite a bit.
I will say. Yeah. To me, it felt a little bit too arcane.
It's so good though. Everything can be more.
I like soundtrack music. I have Troy. Now he goes, dun 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 dun. He does that shit now. I got him doing Goma Goma Pistol, Goma Goma Bazooka.
Nice.
Yeah, man, he's gonna be Luffy for Halloween. So shit, Troy would do a better job than this actor.
I think he's gonna grow up liking One Piece better than Naruto.
He got on Naruto and Dragon Ball Z before he got on One Piece.
That's fair.
So the soundtrack's fine.
But
I think I want it to up its game if they do get a season 2,
yeah,
because I think the one thing you could easily do is really do the soundtrack really good on One Piece.
yeah,
Really do it good. Um, what else is there? I mean, I think this show is fine. If I had to just say like the critique in me, it's fine. What was the score you gave it? You
like
gave it
7 out of 10.
6.
7.
You gave it a 7. I give it a
Yeah,
5.
I give it 7 just because I really did enjoy it. Like I didn't watch. I watched it. It was like this is a lot of fun, and I enjoyed the show.
One of the epics or iconic scenes that everybody's talking about is when Luffy helps Nami. Nami
Yeah,
asks Luffy for help.
so that's good.
I didn't like that scene.
I thought it was good. Again, main actor struggles.
Struggles,
Nami,
but
great.
once again, the direction. I think you need a better. I think you need another couple of different shots on that. But that's like I know everybody's vision's different. I just felt like
The only shot that really matters is the shot of like the main shot that they do in the anime and manga, where it's like you see Sanji, Zoro, Usopp, and then Luffy
I
all
still
there
didn't think
right
they did that
there
great.
fighting.
I still didn't think they did
Like I
that
said,
great.
I don't think it hit as hard as the anime,
And you know what? When they did
but
that in the anime and the manga, it was daylight.
it was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
it was.
daylight. So then they did this at night. So some of the decisions I don't agree on. But for me, it's a 5 out of 10. But it's not like, oh my god, like this is Dragon Ball Evolution or this is fucking Death Note because Death Note was
Correct.
bad.
I've only
Um,
watched about 10 minutes of it. Once he screamed like a girl when he saw the
the
film, I
only
was
thing
like,
that's great about Death Note is Ryuk.
yeah, it was
So
great.
good.
So good.
But One Piece is, let's just say, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. I'm mixed about it. I'm just not going to be shouting to the skies. This is broke the curse of the anime to live adaptation. I feel like Hollywood just doesn't know what the fuck. They're not. They're there. They're almost there. I guess
Yeah.
it's just they haven't completely got it. They
We'll get
haven't
used to it
completely
because
got
they
it.
want to throw like 20 more at us. So
Yeah. So
it's
I
like a
mean,
new one announced every week.
the beauty of it is that I'm sure this is going to get a season 2. the The beauty of it is it could get better. The problem with it is that Netflix are going to be cheap about it. I
Yeah,
think the series desperately needs a bigger budget,
huge.
just slightly bigger.
It was
I
already
think.
massive. Like I think it outdid most Game of Thrones seasons.
Oh no way! Game of
That's what
Thrones, especially season 8 and 7. No way.
I heard it fucking cost a lot to see.
I mean, I could see, I guess, because they really did build the set designs on the ships and stuff. It's a
Yeah,
real ship, so that's costing money. I just think they need to maybe clean up a little bit of the CGI. I think you could easily do that. There is people who worked on this on CGI for a minimal budget.
yeah.
But then again, that's the whole thing with Hollywood is that
It
they're
was
not.
about 17.27 million per episode.
Ooh, how much was Game
Uh,
of Thrones?
that's what I'm trying to find out.
No way, Game of Thrones is way more.
Probably, but let me see.
Game of Thrones, what 40 mil, 40 mil an episode. Season 8, at least. Season 8.
Season budget was over 10 million. Let's see, season 8. 15 million per episode. Yeah.
Oh wow, One Piece is
That
bigger
One
than
Piece
that.
outdid
Holy shit,
it
that is
outdid its budget.
nuts.
Yeah.
That's why they got.
That's what makes me think they won't do it season 2 because of how much it fucking cost.
Yeah, and we don't know
Like
how does Netflix gain the money towards that? Like, is it like because of revenue with like this selling merch and shit? Like, I don't know how Netflix gets their money.
No, they
Subscriptions.
they came out being like this is kind of like how we decide whether or not to keep a show or something like that. But they only showed like a few things like amount of people watching.
I heard.
And they
I
said
heard
they
week.
kept a lot of it the rest of secret, so they don't know. No one knows fully why they
Um,
decided to cut it.
Well, they said week 2 had to be damn good in
Big.
ratings, and it is number
Yeah.
1 still on the platform. But what is
Yeah.
it? What's challenging it? That's what I want to know. There's nothing challenging that One
No,
Piece right now at the moment.
it is still big. Like One Piece than most animes, even more so than Naruto and Dragon Ball Z usually and stuff like that, has a bigger grasp like around the world. Like it doesn't have as big as a grasp in America, but around the world, One Piece is like
I would argue
huge.
that. I would argue that.
They literally had. I mean, Dragon Ball, One
Dragon
Piece
Ball
has a
Chase.
bigger grasp.
Are we gonna get into this?
In
Are we
Japan.
gonna get
I'm
into
just
this
saying,
shit? Dude,
Dragon Ball
there
is
is
massive.
Goku Day. Goku Day as a holiday. Not fucking Goku like they're like in the stories, the tall tales that they tell. No, Goku, the man who leaves his family to go trade.
Who's a
Goku
trash
Day.
father? Yes.
Goku Day. So is Usopp's father. Usopp's father is trash as well. What a piece of shit. Listen, Chase, let's get into it. Because listen, it's One Piece live adaptation is better than Dragon Ball Evolution.
Yeah.
That was the moment where that's where they tried the first time and it failed.
Yeah.
But when it comes to actual like popularity and impact, dude, Dragon Ball Z is just still number one. Like people are still waiting for the fucking announcement for Dragon Ball Super. And I didn't even really like Dragon Ball Super because I thought the animation was trash. But people are that excited, and I'm pretty sure you've seen everything about Gear 5 compared to Ultra Instinct Goku. But the beauty of it is that we all like, I think we could, I mean, we all agree like there's some good shit though. Like One Piece is some good shit. Dragon Ball Z can be some good shit, and then I love me some Naruto, especially with the Boruto manga that's happening recently. It's getting good. The anime is still. Well, the last episode before they took the break of the anime, that episode was so good.
Was it?
Did you not see the last episode of the Boruto anime? So good.
Fine.
So good. But we're talking One Piece. So One Piece, but it is big. Don't get me wrong. Like this thing is humongous.
You really compare like the book and stuff like that, how big the manga is, and how big, how much of a grasp writing, and stuff, how much. And the books are massive. Manga is huge. There's so much world and so much fucking story to be told with it.
And then the manga has outsold J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter franchise. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal too, especially over here in America.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's slowly like America's one of the like has slowly gotten bigger and bigger with One Piece most recently.
Yeah, I think it's gotten more hype now that Gear 5 was all over the place and they're advertising that. They spoiled that, of course.
With streaming services and stuff like that nowadays, it helps people get through the series and stuff like that.
I'm going to say, though, and it's going to be a hot take. I will say, so One Piece is like, it's good. It's like, you're right. Everybody around the world is loving One Piece. I'm saying, though, I think Naruto would do bigger numbers.
You think
in America.
In America. Oh, yeah. 100%.
In America.
100%.
You announced a Naruto movie, which Netflix is saying that they want to do a Naruto live adaptation. I think that generates bigger numbers than One Piece.
I agree. America is always like Naruto and Dragon Ball and stuff better.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I grew up with Dragon Ball, so they win it by default when it comes to One Piece versus Dragon Ball. Because I grew up with Dragon Ball. You grew up with Naruto and One Piece, and I'm getting into One Piece. I mean, I read the manga and stuff. So what I see is different. What you see, I've seen this shit before. Just there is things in One Piece where it's so impressive because, like you said, the world building, the characters, how longevity it is, But for me, if I was, to pick, it would be Naruto. I love Naruto.
Naruto's still my favorite. I still think Naruto. Like I just love the characters in Naruto. I think Naruto's story is.
I love the arcs. It's exciting. The growth. I mean, of course, I think the main problem I had with Kishimoto was he never elevated a lot of the genin, the rookie class.
I think his world building and kind of stuff like that lacked. And you can tell that because like there's a big world to Naruto. There's a lot of characters, and he tends to leave them behind. Certain characters and parts of the Naruto world, like we only ever see the Sand Village. We never really get too much insight on other villages. Like,
Don't really see. I mean, we
and
don't really
we don't
dive into the Rain
Hyuga clan.
Village.
We don't
Yeah.
dive into the Hyuga clan, the Uzumaki clan.
Oh,
Like we don't. We just get little hints like, oh, these all existed, but we don't dive into them. We don't get to know more
especially
about
the
it.
Hyuga clan,
Yeah,
man. I was ready for like the whole setup
yeah,
of he was going to change the Hyuga way, this and
yeah.
that. I never got that shit. It just happened.
One Piece is
Um,
different. One Piece mentions something like it's just a little like, oh yeah, there's Fishman Island. 400 episodes later, all of a sudden they're at
yes,
Fishman Island.
very impressive.
They just like they're in the
Very. I mean, you have
yeah.
Kobe or whatever
Yeah.
coming back after Solo. Like everybody gets
I
a
think I
increase.
think I think what Oda does is like he knows what he wants to go into, and so like he'll say it and then he'll make sure it gets there. While
Yes,
Kizimoto was kind of just putting stuff out there and not having a plan for where it was actually going to go. He had
and the
no
funny
idea
and
what he was going to do with
yes,
Neji and Rock Lee because they didn't do shit after there.
it's the same with Akira Toriyama with Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
Like it's so funny because after the he wanted to end it at the Frieza arc,
yeah,
and then he kept going, and then they're like, dude, what about like Launch from Dragon Ball? Where the hell has she been? And then he straight out goes, oh, I forgot about I forgot about her. That's why she's not in it. I just forgot. Like his ass forgets characters and stuff. But I will say, when it comes to the like the actual animation of it all, I
Mhm.
prefer Kishimoto's drawings way more than Oda's. Hell, I
Oh
prefer
yeah, yeah.
Kubo from Bleach. I think he's
A lot
more
of yeah,
talented in the animation department
probably
than
a lot of people don't
Oda.
watch
Yeah.
or do One Piece because they just feel like the art style's weird,
It took
and
me a
it
while.
is.
It
It
took me a
is.
couple times. It took
Yeah.
me a couple times, man. Um, before we go, I'm curious, Chase. Out of the big three, who are you taking?
Like in a fight,
Nah, just in
or just like
general.
with Naruto.
You're taking Naruto.
Naruto
Okay.
all the way.
I
Naruto,
thought
like
I thought you
I
would say
love
Naruto. I thought you would
Naruto's
say
like
Naruto.
I love the Naruto's character. Man, it's hard. I will say like One Piece. There's the whole thing I've seen on TikTok. It's a big thing like amongst a lot of people is like, oh, you love Naruto, and then you watch One Piece, and then it's like one you like, oh, you think to yourself One Piece is never going to be that good, and then you watch it and like, oh, it's better than Naruto. I don't get that. I think One Piece is fucking excellent. I think it's made me cry harder than any other show, but and I love the characters, and it's one of the funnest shows, and the world building is super fun. But Naruto's characters are like to me just have so much heart to them, and like the storyline. But with all these characters, I love Kakashi's story. I love Naruto's Zero to Hero storyline is to me one of the best in all of anime. Uh, I love Sasuke. I love Obito. I love the villains of Naruto. I think they're the best. Um,
Oh, pain.
so good. Pain. I love Obito, Madara. Let's forget Kage exists. Um,
Hey, she might come back though.
even then, like
She might get
it's
better,
worked
better,
out. Yeah, it's worked out
better
because
written.
Boruto has actually helped explain that better. Whatever. But yeah, I just think Naruto's for me is like the characters of Naruto. Like I love their stories way more, and the action of it is way better in Naruto. I am more way into like the jutsu stuff than I am into pirating all that stuff. But One Piece is up there, same thing. The world of One Piece is just so much fun to explore and to follow this crew. And I like I said, One Piece has made me cry hard. Like I did not think anyone would get me as emotional. There's scenes in One Piece that I truly think are some of the most iconic scenes in all of anime.
I think One Piece. That's the one criticism I have is they make you they cry so much.
Yeah,
They cry
they cry a
so
lot.
much. They do, and it works.
It
The
works.
heartfelt moments work,
Yeah,
but there's so many of those moments
yeah,
that after a while it doesn't become as special.
yeah,
So I guess the difference with Naruto, they have some of those moments too because Naruto's whole story is very tragic and
yeah,
Gara. I think if I'm gonna have to put out an anime that has the best of both worlds, is Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z has action. It
exactly.
has a protagonist you want to see get stronger. In the dub version, it's kind of different than the sub because in the dub version, he's not as much of a piece of shit father. Um, But with Dragon Ball Z, man, like you have world building, you have arcs, you have I mean, we never seen. I mean, the most iconic moment is when Goku turns Super Saiyan for the first time.
Yeah,
Now, going back to more of the tearjerker moments, they hit you. They hit you good because there's not a lot of them in Dragon Ball Z. But I think what I'm gonna have to say is when it does happen. So when Goku sacrifices himself and takes Cell off planet and they blow up, that's one of the tear jerking moments. But the best thing and one of the best characters that these guys, I mean, I love Zoro, I love Luffy. Actually, I love the whole crew. I think the whole, I
yeah,
think
and then
the
there's not one back member of the crew.
not one bad, and then also a lot of the characters in One Piece in general are so
So
good.
good, so good.
But with Dragon Ball Z, they just need one character and one character to give you a fucking great, epic speeches, moments, determination. And then when he does sacrifice himself, it's so good. That's Vegeta, baby. All I need is Vegeta.
I need
Vegeta
Vegeta.
is so fucking good. He's so good. And
Yeah,
he's not a piece of shit dad like Usopp's dad.
that's fair. That's
I,
fair.
I,
Yeah,
Vegeta, baby.
Vegeta's
Vegeta.
badass. I'm not a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. It's no secret. I have like watched a good amount of the anime, and I played some of the video games, stuff like that. Like I've tried to get into it. And there's parts of it that I really like, but it something just doesn't catch it for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's a
I don't
lot
know.
of filler
It's a
too.
lot of filler.
Yeah.
For me, like it was, just, yeah, I couldn't handle it. I felt like One Piece was at least funner to deal with when it came to the filler. Like the characters were more enjoyable to deal with when in the filler. Like that's a big thing for me because I think Dragon Ball Z characters are great. So Vegeta's amazing. Goku's a lot of fun. Gohan and all of them are cool, but like I just don't find them as like all the side characters like Krillin and all that stuff as compelling as like One Piece characters.
Well, you did it reverse. You saw Naruto, and I
I
think you
did.
maybe saw One Piece before you saw
Yeah,
Dragon
I
Ball.
technically see like had more exposure to Dragon Ball before I did Naruto. If I really get technical with it, because my
Yeah.
brother was a big Dragon Ball Z guy,
Oh, okay. Okay.
so he made me watch a good amount.
Oh,
Actually, I
okay.
think
Okay.
I skipped it. Like I started with Majin Buu, like was my first story arc,
That's the technically the
and I
weakest. That's the weakest one. It goes
liked
so
it too,
far.
which is weird. But I didn't even finish it because I was in high school and it was so long. I was like, "Fuck, is this gonna end it?" And he just gets smaller, bigger. I was like, "What the
So
fuck's going on?"
long. Yeah.
And but he was just like, and then I watched Naruto, and then I tried Dragon Ball. I got past Frieza. I didn't get to Cell. I know everyone. I got to Frieza and all that. I didn't get to Cell, and I know everyone tells me Cell is like what I really need to watch. Um,
The Frieza
so I
arc's
have
good too, though.
yeah, the Frieza arc was solid. I just was not interested and just wasn't invested. And I was like, I don't feel like watching another couple hundred episodes of different stuff. Like I just didn't feel that with it at the time, at least.
Okay, so I have a question. Like, how do you feel? Where do you rank Luffy as a protagonist?
That's tough. I like. That's tough. I mean, I compare like for me, Naruto's the best. I think Naruto just I relate to him better than Goku and Luffy
And then Naruto did
because
his technically his whole arc did end.
his arc did end, and he actually grows up. He actually, you've mentioned this. He grows up. No one realizes how much he actually like. He becomes a better person,
Yes.
a better fighter.
Fucking realistic,
He's
dude.
not even dumb anymore. Like he's just a normal guy that like has some silly moments. Like he's not dumb or anything. He's
Yes.
in Boruto, I love it because he's like a dad. He's a dad and a
I
leader and
fucking
a Hokage.
love old man
Big,
Naruto. And he's not
he's
even old. He's
amazing.
like 30 or
No,
something.
he's amazing. He's so good. I really think Luffy and Goku for me are like on similar edges of main characters. I just feel like they're both very similar in the fact that they're goofy, ridiculous. They're very simple. You know exactly what they want and exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
And but when it comes to the people around them, that's when they get real. That's when they get serious. And Luffy, especially, like the best moments of One Piece is when you get to the Nami on the floor. He puts the hat on her, and all of a sudden the crew is there, ready to fucking box. And you can tell Luffy's about to beat the shit out of someone. The best, you're not there yet, but Ennis Lobby has the absolute best version of it with Robin and and stuff like that, and like them literally being able to like,
Oh, where she says, "I want to live."
yeah,
I mean, like I
they're
said, I read the
literally.
manga, bro.
It's so good. It's so good. That's the moment where they're literally like, we challenge. We're going to war with the world to fight for this one person. Like that's what makes Luffy
Uh,
such a special
and
captain, is
then
because he's willing to go to war with everyone to fight for just
exactly
one person in his crew, and that's what makes
what
him special.
that's what I love about Luffy is that
Yeah,
everybody you see why he's the captain.
yeah.
You see why this you see
Why they're
Zoro.
drawn to him. Why they want to be around him.
Zoro is willing to give up his dream for his captain's dream to
Yeah.
come true, and that
Yes.
was evident when he took all the pain and suffering
Mm-hmm.
from that one part.
Yeah.
I mean, the epic scene. I mean,
So
that
good.
is one of the best fucking scenes I've ever seen.
It's in the
Read.
worst arc of the series, but it's in the best. It is one
God
of the
damn,
best
was
scenes.
that a good scene?
It's such
Like
a good scene.
Zoro, that's when I was like, Zoro's a
Oh,
fucking man,
Zero's
dude.
the shit.
Vegeta
Zero's
still
shit.
kick his ass, but Zoro's the man.
Fuck yeah.
No,
I think
but
Naruto kick all their asses still too. But.
another thing too is like Luffy is. I saw a video on this, and I already know what happens. Some things that happen in the future. I
Yeah.
mean, with the Cake Island thing, where he stars for Sanji, he wait till he comes back. Like that's a fucking good scene, dude.
So good.
So there is a lot of great scenes like that. I just think
Yeah.
there's too many of like with I love Chopper. I love Chopper. Chopper's such
Chopper's
adorable.
so
I love Chopper. Anything named Chopper, I seem to really love. Whether you be a maniac killing tons of
Yeah.
people as a droid or just like a little reindeer. But like that, to me, I was like, okay, you're doing the hard stream thing. I get it. Yes, Chopper had a hard life. Okay. But there is like moments like we were just talking about where Zoro and fucking Sanji departing and Robin. That's one of the more iconic scenes too.
That again made me cry. Like I was like, there's two scenes. There's that one, and then there's the going Mary scene that I knew were coming. Like I knew about it. They've been spoiled, you know. But when I actually watched them, I legitimately started crying. Like my tears started going down my face. I don't know
how sad I could be for a ship, dude.
Dude, it's fucking powerful. That scene was so powerful. I thought the same shit. I was like, it knows coming. It's gonna die. Whatever, bro. It hit hard. That scene.
I'll fucking burn the ship for them. I'll do it.
I watched the English dub with pride, and they did great in those scenes.
But as for Luffy as a protagonist, man, he's really fun. He's probably the most. I mean, I know Goku's supposed to be fun, but Goku fucking frustrates the shit out of me sometimes, especially with Super. Like, dude, grow up, Goku, grow up. But like, I want him to be like. It would have been so badass if they made him like older. And I know Saiyans like they're not they don't age as fast, but fuck, I want Goku to be like this wise ass grandpa. You know,
well, with Goku is like. You feel like he should grow up because he's got a kid and all that stuff. The kid grows up.
He has two kids.
Gohan like grows up. We see him grow up and stuff like that. And
but fucking Goku, dude.
Goku like doesn't like evolve at all. Luffy doesn't need to because you really don't see like that's not like any part of the story. He doesn't. There's not a huge like. There's only a 2-year time skip. You don't need to see Luffy grow up. You know Luffy's not gonna have wife and kids and stuff like that. He doesn't need to be responsible. His whole thing is that he is irresponsible and free.
I think at the end of the One Piece series, I think you will get mentions or a little glimpse of the kids of the Straw Hats.
I've heard that. I mean, maybe Boa Hancock, you know.
I mean, if fucking Usopp's dad can pop out Usopp, and then you have, I mean,
yeah, I assume some will have kids. I can see.
I actually think he will hook up with Hancock. I don't think that's gonna be implemented like. It's not gonna be like Naruto where they really put that in place, you know.
I don't see them wanting to do any love story.
I mean, we already discussed this. I mean, I know it's never gonna happen, but I would have loved, Zoro and Robin to have a thing going on, which is kind of crazy because before we head out, there was I know a lot of people were talking. Oda said no romance in the live action at all, and a lot of people are shipping Zoro with Nami.
Yeah, I see that
because there's chemistry. There's a couple moments. There's a couple. I think when she's sitting down and he's like,
"What?" But Nami's thing in his writing in like the anime and manga, Nami is like writing to be like a very independent person. Like she sees herself. She is like, I'm a confident, independent woman. I can wear what I want and not like have any like without trying to pull in a man. Like that's at some points, you know.
I would like Sanji and Nami.
Yeah, Sanji and Nami, yes, would be good. Not, I mean, Sanji's always seen as like the womanizer, so like you don't see him like
I don't know if
you
you ever
know.
saw Inuyasha.
No, I never watched Inuyasha. I
Okay,
know
there's
I've
a
heard.
character in there who's a womanizer, but he ends up getting with Songo, and Songo's like,
Yeah.
yeah. So they
Now
do have like
Sanji,
10
like he
kids.
gets good. He gets like even though like his womanizer and stuff like that. His when you get to Whole Cake Island, you learn more about him and stuff like that. You become more. You root for him more. To, like yeah, and actually there is some good moments in it with Nami and him that I'm like, I can see it.
I think eventually I think Oda will like hint or showcase that because I'm pretty sure he wants the legacy to kind of continue a little bit. When it comes to the show, I don't need romance, even though I do like romance in my media or anything I read or watch or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with. I'm actually okay with them doing the Usopp and Kaya thing. I think that made a lot of sense.
That was something we all kind of knew in the anime. It's like, can you just
Yeah, yeah.
smash already?
So One Piece live adaptation, I think it was fine. I think it wasn't. I think it is a lot better than I thought it was gonna. I thought it was gonna be a train wreck.
Oh yeah, we all did.
Yeah, there was a lot of good things about it, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of bad. I'm not gonna sugarcoat the bullshit where everybody is like on its dick. There's some bad things that need to be addressed, but the
Yeah.
beauty of it, if it's a season 2, I think these are easy fixes for season
Yeah.
2. I think the only one that's not going to be easy, but it's going to be up to direction and it is the director sometimes too.
Yeah.
I think Luffy needs to get better. I
Yeah.
think Luffy needs to be, and I think they
I
need to
agree.
write him a little bit better, just a little bit better.
Yeah.
But overall, they got a good cast. They got a fantastic cast. They got the great mindset. More Buggy, please. I don't know how you get him in there. I don't need him to be in the island like he
Join
was
the crew.
one filler. Just get him.
Yeah.
Just get him in there. You know, Buggy was
Yeah.
really really good. I don't think we're gonna see Mihawk a lot. I think
No, he doesn't come back to like Marineford. He's
with the training and stuff and all. I think
that's after Marineford.
Yeah. Good. It was good. It was good, but the Kaya and the whole Butler thing was hard to get through.
Like I said, it could get better because I do think Alabasta is its first major arc that it goes through. That has to be at least like 4 to 5 episodes for that arc for just them in Alabasta.
That's a long one though too.
I know it's a really.
There's a lot you can cut from that arc though. A lot.
There is.
Much.
But I still think it's like good 3 to 4 episodes long of like them in Alabasta, not even including the stuff leading up to it. They still have to do Lockdown and introduce Smoker and his crew. And
well, we got a hint. We got a hint of Smoker.
Yeah, they showed Smoker.
I hope he's a bigger guy.
That's what you're gonna feel everyone looking like even Goldie Roger looked fucking like he was good.
Oh yeah, he was small. He was small.
But he was tiny. In the anime, he's like that's a lot like Garb and all of them. They're like this big.
He had the look though. He had the look.
Yeah.
He had the look, which is good.
It would look more unnatural if they put human fucking giant bodysuits to make him look massive. So it is. Like I said, there's going to be a scaling thing with One Piece because One Piece's scaling is just insane.
Yeah. So pretty good. Not bad.
Yeah.
6 episodes or how many was there?
8.
9 or 8. 8 episodes. 8 episodes. Okay. So wasn't bad. I think that's gonna do it, guys. We're gonna head out. It was a fine. If you're a One Piece fan, of course you're gonna watch it. I think you are gonna enjoy it if you are a One Piece fan. I'm a One Piece. I would consider myself a One Piece fan too. It's just I'm just very critical with media. So, yeah, I did, but I will recommend at least giving it a shot. Just give it a shot. Just know that there is some cringy stuff in there, but they did. I like the balls to it. The balls.
Yeah.
The nines.
They went for it. They went for it,
which is good. All right, guys, we are out of here. We will talk to you next time. I'm Danny Maniac and Danny Sun, joined with Chase here. You still doing Twitch?
No.
Okay.